I'm Ryan and welcome to my third vlog on analysing my coaching behaviours and philosophy in line with the coaching process. Straight into some context, I am an under 9 to 16 sports scientist at QPR. I feel working in the developmental coaching domain in this context should look to promote player autonomy for physical development. Considering the LTAD model, these players are in the trainer to train phase where we look to improve strength to cope with increased sporting demands. A quick overview of the coaching process and what model I follow. An early model from Fairs was a cyclic approach based around adapting behaviours to suit the session. Lyle progressed this by understanding relationships in context and considering how an athlete's background can hinder the coaching process. We'll now move on to a model more suited to my role by Till et al. This model outlines 6 broad domains of knowledge around S&C in sport, considering the coach, the athlete, the environment, and the practical and technical elements of the session. This framework supports decision making regarding behaviours, and philosophy is a key element of the coaching process I will analyse today alongside my behaviours. Considering philosophy, work from Gilbert demonstrates how philosophy can explain a coach's approach to delivery and relates to someone's values and upbringing. This is a key part of the process I will attempt to portray through my behaviours. So understanding my philosophy, I attempt to bring out hard work from participants in a socially challenging environment whilst showing respect for all at all times. This originates from playing in numerous sports teams as a child, which allowed me to experience different coaching styles, behaviours and relationships, and experience the benefits of a good coach-athlete relationship, alongside my parents demonstrating the importance of being healthy and working hard. So in practice, I try to deliver sessions that involved lots of decision-making and communication, which links to social constructivism, showing the positive impacts that social interactions can have on learning. Understanding philosophy in practice and the social context is a key part of the coaching process, and research has highlighted that guided discovery is a key coach behaviour for this context and philosophy. Here is an under-16 practice focused on cutting, designed as a competition, using relay races. Using the coach behaviour instruction, I clearly describe the playing area and rules before starting the practice involving 2 teams running a pre-planned route. A key thing to mention here is the club philosophy is very bulwark and technical heavy, showing where I've had to adapt a practice to suit other senior coaches' philosophy. For example, this practice uses a football where in another context, better physical outcomes may have been achieved without a football. This is a link to the coaching process, where the S&C coach has had to fit to the social, cultural and political context. I then progressed the practice, again using the coach behaviour instruction that was pre-planned. This continued the competition element I was after. As the first 2 orientations involved lots of queuing and limited social interactions, I progressed the practice to everyone being involved at all times, here showing a clear demonstration of the task. Yet again, I used the coach behaviour instruction to explain the rules and technical elements. Although it is a competitive environment, players have limited opportunity to express creativity and their ability to solve problems. Finally, the last rep involved slightly more decision making, where players couldn't move until the final player had received the ball and ran back to the start. Some players did struggle to process this at first, but once they had figured it out, the practice didn't involve further thinking outside the box or showing initiative, and there was no Q&A observed between myself or the players. Overall, there were limited interactions between the coach and the athlete and the players themselves, limiting opportunities to build relationships and problem solve. Here are my thoughts on the session and the behaviours I used and the environments I created compared to the social philosophy I outlined at the beginning. Regarding what went well, I created a competitive environment to create enjoyment, and I used clear instructions and demonstrations. The progressions gradually increased decision making required by the players also. And finally, I stuck to the club philosophy, which concerns the concept of paradigm blindness, where it is hard to get a skills-based coach to believe in an evidence-based S&C work by removing the football. Concerning areas for improvement, instruction was most commonly used, which limited questions from players and one-on-one interactions. The predictable practice also removed differentiation for varying abilities. Considering my session alongside research, instruction has been argued as a key coach behaviour for S&C coaches, as they can instantly instruct on technique and demonstrate their knowledge, which develops trust between the coach and the athlete. The competition focus supports social constructivism theory, and my session shows the social benefits of working in small groups. However, lots of instruction seems to be a common issue within elite environments, where technique based in practice with instruction takes away the athlete-centred approach. Research suggests this coach-led practice issue is overcome by using guided discovery, using prompts to trigger decision-making, and using a constraints-led pedagogy. Here is another under-16 practice focused on agility, looking at accels, decels and change of direction. Since concluding instruction was prominent in my delivery with limited decision-making, I attempted to structure my practice around guided discovery, which is observed here, where I provided limited information on the task. The game involved players having metaphoric possession by calling each other's names and scoring by having possession in the end zone. This prompted immediate questions from players, which I responded with questions to further prompt thought processing. You can see further discussion between the players as they scaffold knowledge together, figuring out how they will succeed in the practice. Once the game had started, it was slow to begin with, as the players started to grasp the concept. However, as the phases continue, the phases get longer and the intensity increases and the physical demands of the session increase as the players figure out how to succeed. This may look like finding space, or being more attacking, or being braver when defending. This practice allows players to figure out what works and what doesn't work, make decisions on other players' tactics, and experiment with their own movements. As this phase finishes, I progress the practice by introducing netball rules. This was a tweak to the constraints, forcing participants to call on their previous knowledge to figure out what this game might now look like and how to succeed, as I didn't explicitly explain the rules in detail other than mention that we're playing netball rules. This links to the coaching process, as I am considering the athlete age and their school experience to promote the appropriate decision making. This demonstrates constraints-led pedagogy, where restrictions have been added to the practice to promote decision-making and for the players to find their own solutions. This also included more of a deceleration element to the practice. The next progression was similar, where tag rugby rules were involved. I noticed this prompted more verbal communication, physical communication and eye contact between players, as some players figured out the rules and how to succeed quicker than others. This allowed decision-making, problem-solving, communication, whilst all in a competitive environment to happen during these phases. Finally, I started a discussion on another sport to play which was chosen by them. They chose football, which prompted discussion on offsides and other rules. This also gave me opportunity to add in a latecomer who I prompted with basic rules for him to then submerge and adjust to the environment, so he still had a chance to learn the rules, adapt and experiment socially and physically despite being late. Considering the pros and cons of this session, I still created a competitive environment and there was limited use of instruction that was swapped for guided discovery. I used a constraints-based pedagogy which triggered decision making and prompted problem solving and leadership qualities amongst the group. Next time I would better use space to increase the physical demands and I would give more coach feedback. Considering my actions alongside research, the benefits of guided discovery show that the participants can listen to what I've said, perceive the restrictions on the session and then are forced to make a decision on their performance. These psychosocial behaviours associated with guided discovery have shown to influence cognition and motivation and trust between the coach and the athlete. The use of questions allowed me to get a better measure of understanding across the group, and my game-centred approach enabled me to stand back and watch the session and provide progressions where appropriate. And finally, considering the coaching process, Lyle suggests that you should consider the athlete's skills and knowledge within a programme, or in my instance, the training to train phase of the LTAD model. This shows that using guided discovery as a coach behaviour allows the coach to choose how much content to reveal to the players and shows a benefit of using guided discovery within my context. However, O'Connor highlights that there is a fine balance between too frequent interventions within the session, not allowing participants to problem solve. So in summary, this process has highlighted where my behaviour and practice has not always matched my philosophy. My delivery now better fits the coaching process, as I now understand my behaviours better, which I can link to my philosophy and upbringing, so I can better measure and understand my practice and athletes' progress, so therefore can progress the coaching process to improve performance quicker. This has also reinforced the importance of sport-specific and skill acquisition knowledge in my context. Please see the references used on the next few pages. Thanks for watching.